Friends and colleagues, please welcome Lyric founder and CEO, Ganesh Ramakrishna.
I thought we could keep that on for a few more minutes and all of us dance. Anyway. What do you think it feels like to have an opportunity sitting right in front of you for 30 years and do nothing about it? Ask the 29 NBA teams, and they'll tell you exactly how it feels. 1979, the NBA drew the three-point line. Before 1979, if you made a shot from anywhere on the court, you got 2 points. Once the line was drawn, the idea was simple. Shoot from outside the line, you get 3 points. Shoot from inside the line, you got 2 points. 50% more value if you knew how to shoot the ball outside the line. Guess what happened? Nothing. For 30 long years, the players thought this was a gimmick. It was a trick shot, and they just left it alone. And then, this guy showed up. Steph Curry. Any Steph Curry fans here? Right? If you're not an NBA fan, this guy completely changed the game. He could shoot the ball from anywhere on the court, make 3 points all the time. It was like magic on the court. He did things, he did not only use the line, he owned the three-point line. That's what he did. But there was still something missing. What was that? He didn't win anything for a few years. And then he got the full squad. A great coach, the right kind of teammates, Kevin Durant, Clay Matthews, Draymond Green, and then magic happened. They went on a dynasty-building championship run. 3 championships in 6 short years. And most importantly, they changed the game forever. Basketball today is a very different game than what you may have experienced before 2009. Now, coming back to our world of supply chain, it feels like we are at that moment. Last year, when we met, we said, don't sit this one out. Because that felt like the Steph Curry moment. We felt some magic happen on the court. Because AI has been around for 20 plus years. It's not a new thing. But last year, we felt something, that this is different. We really felt that Steph Curry was on the court. You got to do something about it. In 12 short months, that has completely changed. Now, we really feel that the entire squad is here. And it is time to go on a championship run. Now, why do I personally feel that? 2 stories from the last few months. The first one, one of my good friends, the guy who runs R&D at Lyric, Sarang, he called me and said, we got to show you something. And can you do a meeting tomorrow? Like, I don't know, let's do it. Get on a call. And Ugo and Fahim, two R&D guys, brilliant folks, they walked me through this thing where the algorithms are building themselves. I and a whole bunch of people at Lyric thought that that line would never be crossed. Hey, you need like deep scientists, math experts who've practiced their craft for 10, 15, 20 years to go build these algorithms. That's what we assumed. But when Ugo and Fahim showed me that with their agentic framework, the algorithms are authoring themselves, my mind was blown away. It was one of the proudest moments for me of starting and building this business. For a second, I felt what Archimedes felt like. Thank God I didn't do anything like that. But that was a magical moment for us. And then I was like, it's changed. Felt like it is here now. And then another thing happened within a few weeks. One of our product managers, he said, I want to show you something. I was like, what? He said, we have this unique tax problem in Brazil, a problem that we know. When you're trying to optimize networks in Brazil, it's a unique problem. The tax system is weird, unique, and optimizing a network around that is like a hard problem. Like no network design, no modeling software writes software specifically for that purpose. And they said, do you want to see how we solved it? Like, okay, show me. Like, they just went on a prompt, said, I'm building a Brazilian tax model for my Brazilian network. Can you show me how to do that in Lyric? And the agent figured out two things at the same time. We didn't have to explain how Brazilian taxes work. It figured it out itself. It knew what it had to do. And then it also went on to say exactly how to configure that network inside Lyric. We had no idea how to do it. If this was the pre-AI era, it would have required an expert to spend a week thinking about this tax problem, learning the tax problem, then scratching their head on how can we configure this, going on that journey, and some eureka moment will happen, and they'll say, let's do this, this, and this, and then the Brazilian model will solve. None of that. No expert needed. The agent did all the work. So now, not only agents were figuring out and authoring algorithms, it was also learning how to reason with the problem and figure out how to solve the actual business problem. Those two things, back to back, within weeks, totally convinced us. We've turned a corner here. This is no longer an exciting new thing that we should play with. We should have fun with it. No. This is it. This is it. And if you talk to any of my product leaders, we actually called an emergency meeting in San Francisco. Ron will say yes, right? Said, look, guys, it is it. Now, no matter what AI plans we had, scratch all that. Let's rethink. Because it's not like we got to build in the next 2 or 3 years. It is now, it's here, and it's a matter of survival. We knew that we were at the cutting edge, but truth be told, we were as anxious as anybody. Like, hey, we got to get this nailed because this is here, right? And that's why we feel it is game on. Not just for us, but for all of us. Because if we don't take advantage of this situation now, right, we could all be seeing a very different world out there. And we don't want that. Now, what happens once we go on this journey? We think we have a window here for all of us. 2 to 3 years of the ability to create alpha, to create differentiated outcomes for our businesses. If we move now, we can take full advantage of this alpha. If we don't, the consequences may not be what we want. Right? We might be executing a best practice. What is alpha today? The opportunity is to move now, create alpha, or all of this stuff is going to become best practice. And you're going to adopt a best practice. And that would be like the 29 NBA teams. The choice is to be the one team that can go on the championship run, or the 29 teams that takes the best practice. That is the difference. You folks are here. You understand AI. Right? That's why you've taken the trouble to be here. But what I want to do is give you some mental models, not for you to understand what AI is, but tomorrow, when you leave this party, right, you go in front of your businesses, you get in front of your CFO, you get in front of your CEO, your board, your planners, and you need to find a way to explain AI to everyone around you. So I have a few mental models to help you with it. Number one of my favorite movies. Any Interstellar fans here? Woo! There you go, love it. It's a great mental model, right? In case you've not watched the movie, Coop is our main protagonist here, right? He's an astronaut. He has a machine with him at all times. And this machine answers questions from him, keeps him in good humor, answers difficult technical questions for him, and also does the work. That's the differentiated thing that let's say in this case, TARS does. TARS is the machine. It does the work. When Coop says, hey, go out and get some samples for me, it gets out and does the work of getting samples for him. That's the differentiated thing. So that's where we are with AI. AI does the work for us today. Mental model number one. Mental model number two, okay, it's here, is, trying to get this, okay. You having a family of experts sitting right behind you. If you're running a supply chain, you need the planning people, you need the strategy expert, you need the manufacturing expert, you need the sales expert, you need the supply chain math experts. Imagine having all of them at your fingertips. That's what AI should feel like. And it will feel like that. And it's actually multi-echelon to do supply chain speak. Because it's not just the planning expert. You need to have a demand planning expert. You need to have a supply planning expert. On the math side, you need to have an optimization expert. You need to have a machine learning expert. You need to have a heuristics expert. Imagine having all those experts at your fingertips, being able to answer any question you have about your supply chain, about your operations, about the math behind the supply chain. It will feel exactly like that. We'll give you a glimpse of it this afternoon at the product keynote, right? And you will see how the machine is part of the process. It's not sitting in the background. It's part of the process by which you make decisions. Another mental model, and this one many of you may have heard when we've talked to you. It's super important because when you think about AI, and especially in the context of supply chain, if you don't have this ready to go, you'll hear a lot of noise coming from all directions. Why don't we use the LLM vendors? Why don't we do that, right? That you need AI to the power 2 for supply chains, which is the marriage of algorithmic intelligence with agentic intelligence. You need both working together. And honestly, it feels like they need to tango now. It's so lovely to see the dance between algorithms and agents going back and forth to figure out answers for you. What we're seeing in the labs now, which will be in the product very soon, that dance is magical. And you need, it's not a choice, an AI system that doesn't know how to play between the two or do the tango between the agents and algorithms will not work. I can guarantee you that. You need that tango. That's another mental model. Is there dance between the algorithms and the agents? Right? And that's where you need like a supply chain oriented platform. My designer, right, Bharat, he's built the whole slide deck here. He was in SF about a couple of months ago, right? Spent the week with me and then the weekend as well. So during the week, he took a video of me. This is my infamous minivan, right? This is me. Monday to Friday, I drive this car, right? No AI, right? Or it is, if they sell AI, they say like, the lane protection. That's the most AI I have in my machine, right? Over the weekend, I get to drive my wife's car. I don't have to drive it. I'm a passenger, right? I get in, put the destination, and I'm just in the vehicle after that. I'm just enjoying the ride as much as anybody else, right? As you can see there. I don't get it on weekdays. I've got to talk to my wife about that. That's human in the loop AI today. Because I got to help out the FSD from time to time. Because it may not want to take an exit. It may want to park in the wrong spot. So I need to help it out. That's the human in the loop AI. And finally, he took a video of himself in SF. No need for Ganesh. Ganesh is gone, right? That's a Waymo, right? I thought this is a beautiful way to understand how we are transitioning from the image on the left. If you're working with legacy software, it truly is the image on the left. And the decision that you need to make is how and when do you want to transition to the middle option, the last option. Because the technology is here. You can go to the last option as well. For most supply chains, I would say it's a hard call to go there, but the tech is there. But we have to get there. Right? It is a process. You can't just switch from left to right. You got to go through the stages. And I think in 2026, it is absolutely possible for you to be in a place where the human is in the loop. Through our journey of working with AI, there are 3 things that we've learned. One, it really knows the world around us. Anything that can be captured in a book, anything that's captured in a technical paper, anything that's captured on the internet is already in there as part of the LLM layer. What we got to do is give it our business context. We have to teach it our business. That's the 1-2 punch. The Brazilian tax model. We did not have to do any training of the AI on the Brazilian tax system. That came baked in. But what we had to do was teach it how Lyric is structured. What is the data model for Lyric? What is the math behind network optimization inside Lyric? Once it knew that, the rest was just magic. It just figured out the other part. Right? That's something we need to kind of build into your memory, right? Because same thing, when you talk to an AI, you can say, shut down all the West Coast plants. Hey, what if all the customers in Texas, the demand increases by 20%? I can say Texas. It understands somewhere in the customer file or in the store file, there is a field called state of the store, and that state, if it is Texas, those are the stores I'm talking about. We do not have this luxury a year ago. Right? So you have that luxury. It knows the world. Second thing, this is something, a lot of us take time to recognize. When you work with partners, what AI has done for us on the inside, we are moving at 100x the pace. It really feels like that. We have about 200 engineers, give or take. But those 200 engineers can create things that feels like the work of 2,000 engineers. So we're no longer limited by, it's not just acceleration of work. It is imagination of new kinds of capabilities that we can create for you folks, for our customers. That's how it feels on the inside. That's the second thing about AI. Like, hey, what power it has given, the creator community, the vendor community, if they are inclined, if they are AI forward, if they are AI leaning. Right? It really feels like 100x. The last thing, humankind has never invested this kind of energy behind any project like we are doing in AI. I was looking up some statistics last night. The Apollo project, it cost us $240 billion in today's dollar terms, spread over 10 years. We spent $240 billion. Do you want to take a guess on how much just the 4 large infrastructure companies are spending? Every year, $500 billion. Just the 4 infrastructure companies. That is like saying, just these 4 companies are funding 2 Apollo projects every year. Scale never we've imagined. The top AI researchers are getting paid more than Steph Curry. Could you imagine that? Like, that's where we are. Like, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. So you've got to be ready to be shocked. That's the only thing you should expect. The upgrades we're going to get quarter over quarter, year over year, are going to be like nothing we've ever seen before. How supply chains change? Few things. Number 1, modeling, planning, execution. They're going to all compress. This is vestige of the past. The way we've thought about this, modeling a different world, planning a different world, execution a different world, is how we had technology to support what we want to do. These things are going to compress into a single decision-making framework, the decision mesh that we talk about. They're all going to be daisy-chained. Again, you will see some of this today in the afternoon. The next thing, S&OP as we know it will disappear. Now, I know that feels like a scary thing for a lot of us. Like, oh my God, what is he saying? Right? But the whole S&OP process was built where the planner had to do a lot of manual work. When the manual work disappears, the process obviously disappears with it. You've got to build new processes. I'm not saying there's going to be no process, but we will have to discover and deploy new processes. Another thing that will happen, and this is like one of the weirdest things in the world of supply chain, is planning excludes logistics and transportation. It's like 2 different worlds. And the reason, if you think about it, is just because just the world of, hey, I got to figure out my demand, I got to figure out my supply, I got to figure out my inventory, I got to figure out my production schedule, was so much work that at the end of it, like, hey, just take this and just move it, make this happen, is how we have had the relationship with transportation. Doesn't need to be the case. It's going to be all integrated because the effort required to get the first part figured out has shrunk significantly. When that effort shrinks significantly, you can make it all a single process. So that'll happen. I want to finish with this, the path to success. How are you going to win? A few tips. Number one, you saw the Maria and Friends video. Supply chain engineers. That's going to be a key asset in your business. You will have agents to work out. You have algorithms to work out, right? And these Marias are needed and are available in your business. This is your planner who loves math. This is your data scientist who takes an interest in the business. This is your analyst who's eager to grow. These are the people who make the next generation of supply chain engineers. Again, you'll hear from Frank and some of the folks who went through our program. And you will see how they've experienced. This is just, we're scratching the surface. But this cohort is going to be key for your success in supply chain AI journey. Second, this is a part a lot of people get, again, confused about us, like, what are you guys doing? Are you guys making us do all the work? No. You will be a co-creator in this process. Your signature will be in the final product that gets deployed. We're walking away from the world. That era is done, where you buy software and implement software. That language is going to be extinct. There's no such thing as buying and implementing. You'll bring in a platform and you'll use the platform to create beautiful products for your business. That's the new mental model. And that is also iterative. It's not like buy and do it and gone. No. You got to continuously iterate. Because what you deploy today, people will love it, but they will want more from you. What are you going to do? Do another implementation? No. The mental model is not implementation. The mental model is continuously make the product better. So that's why it's a continuous loop of creating, consuming, experimenting, and iterating. This is the new way. Finally, this journey is especially important for when you talk to your technology teams, and some of them are here, and they'll tell you, you have to pick the right partner. You can't do this alone. The idea that, hey, we have Claude, we'll do things in Claude, it's a bad idea. We have webinars that we host where we talk about it, but that's something you should be ready to defend. You're not going to do this in Claude. It's not going to happen. Or OpenAI. I have nothing against Anthropic. Right? It's not going to happen there. But you got to pick the right partner for this journey. And I'm going to make the case for Lyric, finally. If you watch these years, do you know what these years represent? These are not random years that I picked from the last 35 years. These are the founding years of the legacy technology companies that run your supply chains. Now, you've got to ask yourself, can a company founded in 1982 show me the path on how to get to 2030? That's the question you should ask. You should meditate on it. Right? The first line of code we wrote in 2022 was in 2022. Right? And that's what sets us apart. Like we're just lucky on that front. We're lucky that we're a young company. We could change with the direction of how AI has changed, and we can confidently say that what we have is an AI native platform. as a function of being young. So the companies that were founded 30 years ago, it's not that they don't know. They know. They have smart people too. These are great companies. Don't get me wrong. But they have legacy technology that they have to pivot. It's a 10-year journey for them. And you don't have 10 years. You have 3 years to create alpha. Keep that in mind. Right? So there's a disconnect. The second thing is, again, a point some people are like, why this? Right? This is a picture of Kava, right? One of my favorite quick-serve restaurants. If you go into a Kava and order food, the meats are cooked. I get tofu, but the meats are cooked, the tofu is cooked, the veggies are cooked, the protein, the rice is cooked, the sauces are made, everything is done, ready to go. All you do is tell the person behind the counter what you want. How would you like your bowl to be made? That's all that's going on there. This is not a bespoke project. You're just assembling in the last minute on what you exactly want to your taste. So the whole idea of composable is going to be central to how you will create AI for your business. Right? That's the second thing. We're composable. I think that's the winning strategy, right? Winning architecture, if you will. And then you'll say, Ganesh, what about all the horizontal platforms? Hey, I have this company that walked in, talked a lot about ontology. What about those guys? Or some other folks who come in. The question you got to ask them is, are you built for supply chains? Do you know supply chains? Do you know the difference between network optimization and supply planning and demand planning and order promising? Do you know the difference between these things? Do you understand the supply chain of my business? Very likely the answer is no. We are built for supply chain. Read this beautiful article, right, from the CIO of Lululemon, ex-CIO of Lululemon. He said, there's a lot of AI wishing and AI washing going on in the market. I'm sure you've met a few vendors who talk about things that they don't have, right? What I promise from our side is, you may suffer, but not from wishing and washing. You may suffer from indigestion. We have so much coming at you that you might want to sequence what you're going to consume. But you're not going to suffer from AI wishing or AI washing from our side. Built with love. Right? If you walk into a coffee shop, a lovely coffee shop in your town, there are coffee shops that you would want to walk in and just sit down with a book and a nice latte and spend the next 3 hours. They have the right vibe. You want to be there. Hopefully, when you talk to the lyric chorus members, when you talk to customers, of which there are many, right, you will feel that there is love in this process of what we are trying to do. There is love because we love it. We want to make this come to life. And I hope that you can experience that in the next day and a half. I want to finish with this. We talked about Interstellar. People who like the movie may recognize this scene. Right? I'll set the scene up for you. So Coop, who's our protagonist, his job is to save humankind. The Earth is dying, and we got to find a new planet to go live in. So he goes on this mission. In this particular scene, so if he makes it, humankind exists. If he does not, we're extinct. And in this scene, what's going on is there's a ranger that he's on. That's a small ship on the left. And on the right is the mothership, Endurance. And Endurance is spinning out of control. His job is to land the ranger when Endurance is spinning out of control. Now, you might feel like you're in a very similar spot. You're Coop. Because the old world that you lived in, legacy technology, legacy processes is dying. It really is. And your job is to bring your business to the new world. Find a new planet. You've got to find it and bring them to the new world. Feels familiar? Right? If that feels familiar, I want you to take inspiration from Coop. Because in this scene, the machine says, it's not possible to stick the landing. Coop responds, no, it's necessary. I want to leave you with that. Landing your business in an AI-first world for your supply chains is not an option. You might feel it's impossible, but it is necessary. Thank you very much. It's game on.